Hey, good looking. Welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me today. Today, we'll be diving into first impressions of the brand new Flower Beauty Desert Lights palette. I will be showing you, here they are. I will be showing you in-depth, up-close eyeshadow swatches on my eyes. I'll also show you some arm swatches that I traditionally do on my channel here. And then I'm going to show you some comparison swatches lastly and see if the Jungle Lights palette has any shades that are very similar to the brand new Desert Lights palette. Hi, I'm Kendra Morgan Official, and I like to put out content weekly centered around makeup brushes that aren't Morphe, sunscreen, and usually single eyeshadows, but I can't help myself when I find a really good formula in a palette that's affordable. So today we'll be diving into a little bit of a tangential video, the brand new Flower Beauty Desert Lights palette. This is a self-sponsored video. I happen to get it on Ulta Beauty. It's not available right now currently, but hopefully it restocks soon. You're gonna love it. I just know it. Spoiler alert, she gorgeous. Okay, let's go ahead and get into the eyeshadow swatches. Oh, but before we get into that, I do want to let you know there's going to be some bonus content centered around what I think the next Flower Beauty eyeshadow palette should look like and what it should be called. So I kind of put together my own little rendition, if you will. So stay tuned for that. You're not going to want to miss it. Okay, I always like to start out by showing off the eyeshadow palette in its entirety, but I also want to show the back to really just make you feel like you're part of the community and like you have ownership of the palette, and because I don't feel other people do this. Okay, so the first shadow in the palette that's going to be swatched is Mirage, and this is a beautiful pink champagne. To me it looks like it does have a slight iridescent shift to it, but whatever it is gorgeous. It has a beautiful sheen. Spoiler alert, this is the same exact formula as the Jungle Lights palette. So if you like the Jungle Lights palette, you will love the formula of these. They're creamy, they're buttery. This is a second swatch on top of it. It builds onto itself very nicely and it's super gorgeous. These are very, very everyday wearable colors. The next shade that I'm swatching for you is Soul, and it's described as a gold shimmer. Again, high luster, high pigmentation, super creamy, very buttery. In the swatch you can see it just goes on for days and it looks so gorgeous, so beautiful. The next shade in the palette is Horizon. The shadow here is described as a bronze, again high luster, high pigmentation, and super creamy, super buildable and blendable. Any of these shadows can be mixed together. They are super incredibly malleable, I guess is the word. Red Rocks is the first shade on that second row, and it is described as a warm copper. Very true to the description. This warm copper is super, super, super pigmented. If you've been following me for any amount of time, I would describe these eyeshadows as very similar to Sydney Grace's formula for Tiara and Bronze to Perfection, that slippery, wet, creamy, like a wet shadow almost. And then Sierra is the next shadow that I'm swatching here. This one looks duochromy to me. It looks pink with a gold sheen to it, so rose gold fits the description very accurately. And again, the swatch goes on with ease. I did kind of, go a little ham on the swatches here and really indulge in this creamy, buttery goodness of shadow. But it is a pink with a very, very beautiful rose gold luster on top. super gorgeous. Last shadow in the palette is Terra, which is a rich, deep brown. I'm showing you up close. It's not quite as lustrous, I think, because it's a deeper shadow, so there's not as much sheen, but again, still creamy, still buttery. And this blends out gorgeous. This is what I have all over my eyes today, and you can see at the very end of that swatch that it blends out and it has the most beautiful warm red undertone. There are the traditional arm swatches that I normally do for you, and now I would like to get into the eyeshadow swatches that I did for you. First shade is Mirage, and I'm just going to use my finger to put these on. Ooh, this is so creamy and so buttery. That's Mirage. And then the second shadow will be Soul. I know many of you are team brush, but they're best applied with the finger and then blended out. And that is Soul. The next set is Horizon, right here. And it's gonna go on my, let's do left eye first. My left, your right, I guess. Very creamy, buttery, blendable. Red Rocks is gonna go on the right eye. Am I crazy? It looks a little like a duochrome. And then there you have that. That is Red Rocks. Horizon and then Red Rocks. Then the last two shades that we have are Sierra and Terra. So I'm going to, oh, this one looks like a duochrome. Oh my goodness. Yeah, this one looks like a duochrome for sure. Like my favorite type of duochrome. So let's go ahead and put on my left, your right, Sierra. These are the ultimate one and done shadows. And the last one is that dark brown shade, Terra. Let's do it. Oh my goodness. It's dark and it's sultry, but it's still so romantic. So very incredibly beautiful. Ooh, let me blend this one out just a little bit so you guys can see. I mean, it's kind of a Smith 235, just blending the edges. Oh my goodness, look at that undertone that's blending out beautifully. So I'm bringing it up just a little bit right in here. I think I'm gonna leave this on, and that is Terra, you've ever seen. All right, what did you think of those eyeshadow eye swatches that I did for you guys? Let me know in the comments down below. And now I want to finally go over some comparisons of the Jungle Lights palette and the Desert Lights palette. Here we have the Jungle Lights palette, and it's right next to the Desert Lights palette. And there's a couple of shades in here that I do feel like maybe possibly they could stand out, so I'm not sure, but I feel like Wild from the Jungle Lights palette might be similar to Horizon, or maybe Red Rocks. No, Red Rocks. So the first swatch that I'll do is from the Jungle Lights palette, and that's going to be Wild, and then I will swatch for you Red Rocks. Same formula, same creamy buttery goodness. There is something about a back of the hand swatch. Yes. Yes. So they are not very similar at all. One is a mauvey purple, more warm toned, and then this is more of a traditional neutral lavender purple. And just to honor Drew Barrymore, I am wearing a nice floral dress for you. I caught an Instagram reel of her the other day. She is so cute. She's my bestie up here. Okay, I think maybe if I had to guess, those golden shades might be similar. So Soul and Amazon. Let's go ahead and see how close they look to one another. Okay, they do look very similar. There is Amazon. Yep, that's Amazon right there. And then here is Soul. Oh yeah, this is more of a peach. This one's a more true golden. Let me back up here. There we go. True golden, and this is like a peach champagne. Very beautiful. Both are very beautiful. Again, same dynamic for that creamy, buttery goodness of eyeshadows that we know and love from the Jungle Lights. I know many of my community have actually picked up this palette, the Jungle Lights palette, so they're interested in finding out whether the Desert Lights formula is also the same, and it looks like it carries through perfectly. But I am going to go ahead and put on the screen right here for you the ingredients of the Jungle Lights palette, and then I'm going to put some ingredients from the Flower Beauty Desert Lights palette. I do know that some of the pigments are quite differing, so as far as ingredients, there's not just one set ingredient list. There's going to be a couple of different ingredient lists based off of some of the different formulas. Not all of them are formulated exactly the same. So I think that's all I see that I really think is very similar. I thought that maybe this red shade would be similar to one of these other shades, but I don't see it. Maybe Red Rocks is close to it. So I guess let's go ahead and do that. And this is going to be Tiger Lily and Red Rocks, but already you can see that one is purple and one is red. I'll just go ahead and swatch on my hands. So this is Tiger Lily, I think. Yeah, that's Tiger Lily. And this is... No, excuse me, this is Tiger Lily, and that's Red Rocks. So one's more of that coppery red tone, and then this is just like a warm lavender almost. Both very, very beautiful, but doesn't look like we have any shadows that carry over or very similar. So I would say if you love the Jungle Lights palette and you just love a wide array of different types of shadows with this formula, then adding Desert Lights to your collection, you would not be disappointed. You would really, really appreciate owning both of them. I know I will, because I like both of these types of shadows, both of these color stories. I'm very drawn to and am very, very much in love with. I was kind of tossing around while I was waiting for my Ulta order to come in. I was tossing around the idea of ooh, what would be next for Flower Beauty? So Drew Barrymore, cut the check to Kendra Morgan, just so you know. And if you haven't already and you're finding value in this content, make sure you subscribe. But anyways, I was looking around the shadows in my collection, and whoopsie daisy, I kind of thought to myself, wouldn't that be so neat if we could take a few shades from the Sydney Grace collection, but make them this formula right here? Wouldn't that be so awesome? So I came up with my own little rendition of the Disco Lights by Flower Beauty. So I just put some of the Sydney Grace shadows in there, and the shades that I used are, starting from the top row, Tiara, Chocolate Bar, and then Megalodon. Then the second row I put in Princess Pepe, which is actually not available anymore, I found out, Polished Silver, and then lastly I put Hydra in there. So I kind of thought that would be a fun little palette if anybody from Flower Beauty is watching. One more thing, and then I promise I'll let you go. Homework if you haven't already subscribed to my channel. I'm going to hold these two palettes up to each other, right next to each other, and I am going to show you on the screen right now the MAC Tempting Fate palette. So here's this, okay? And then the MAC Tempting Fate. Let me just go ahead and, yeah, oops. So now I've got the MAC Tempting Fate palette up here, and you can see that these are going to be like very, very similar color stories. So if you're tempted by the MAC Tempting Fate eyeshadow palette, but you don't want to spend the $48, you can get these off of Ulta's website. Currently this one's out of stock, so I don't know. You might just want to wait just a little bit longer and it should come back in stock. Head on over to Ulta Beauty. They're $17.99 a piece. I know that's a little bit pricey, but I was able to use a 20% off coupon and get the palettes, this palette particularly, for $14.39. So I received it today. I didn't have any problems with the shipping or anything like that. It came in nice and bubble wrapped. I know some of my subscribers have talked about getting their palettes from the Jungle Lights and it just came in busted up. That's not the case with this. I think that we don't have any of that purple shadow. That's just really risky business. So this came in fully intact. I didn't have to repress anything or anything like that. So thanks so much for watching, guys. I can't wait to see you in my next video. Bye.